Hi everyone, welcome back to the Backlight channel. Hi folks, I'm Mads, I'm a developer advocate at DevRiot, and today we're going to go through a demo of one of our tech samples. The tech samples are not a comprehensive design system in Backlight, but more a sandbox dedicated to a given technology. In this one, we're going to go through System UI, which is a system dedicated to React. And we're going to see how you could use it to start your design system experiments with React System UI, and how you could use it to build your own design system using those technologies. So first, System UI is a specification, a theme specification. So by itself, it's just a way to export tokens and export a definition of your theme to be ready to be consumed by any framework that is compatible with System UI. So in this specification, you are able to declare scale objects that are objects that declare the different variants of a property, like font size or colors and so on. And you've got access to an aliases system. And in the end, this is just a key value map, a key value object exported that, that contains all your design tokens in a way that your different framework will be ready to use this definition to decorate and to theme your final interface. This is a project that was first developed by Christopher Biscardi and Brent Jackson, but right now, as an open source project, there is a lot of contributor to the System UI framework. So let's have a look at Backlight in the tech sample by itself, and how does it look like. So back in Backlight, go into the editor. As usual with our starter kits, we've got a token sections on the left panel, and these tokens contain the different tokens of our theme specification in a design tokens oriented way. So we've got typography definition, colors, space, sizes, shadows, ready, border, and z-index. In those ones, you've got for each component, each token component, a TypeScript file containing the different variants. So in the typography, you've got access to the fonts, font sizes, font weights, line heights, letter spacings. And thanks to the DevRiot's Doc Kit for React system, we've got a rendering in the documentation that allow you to have a live preview of your different tokens. So your documentation, powered by our Doc Kit, is a system that will consume your tokens directly. So here we have the font size with the different sizes and font families, but you've got the same thing for the colors, with the text, background, primary, secondary color, and so on. With the live previews, you've got access to the space tokens, the sizes, shadows, ready, for the angle, the border, and the z-index system directly. So we split all those definitions in different design tokens components, so everyone could collaborate on them and edit them the best way. But this is not providing a comprehensive System UI dictionary. So we developed all component, and in this all component, we import and then merge every design tokens component in the starter kit. So everything is exported as a theme in a System UI comprehensive definition way. So this theme is ready to be handled by any framework that is compatible with the System UI definition. So in with starter kit, you just have to edit the different tokens, and you will be ready to just see the differences on your different content. So let's have a look now at different frameworks that will be ready to handle the System UI theme. In this starter kit, we embedded not one but two different frameworks that are ready to consume System UI definition. So let's start with the first one. The first one is Theme UI. Theme UI is developed by the same authors than System UI, so it's perfectly compatible with system UI definition. It's a components library that is exposing different kind of components and a theme provider. And with the theme provider, you just give it your theme definition, and by wrapping your components in the theme provider, by decorating your application, you will be ready to apply your theme directly to your overall application. So let's have a look at how it works in Backlight. So back in the editor, we've got two elements in the theme UI section. We've got a button example component, and we've got a utils component. So in this utils component, to avoid you to redeclare the theme provider by importing the theme and so on, we declared different wrapping of your overall system. The first wrapper you have is a layout wrapper for the MDX section, so dedicated to the documentation, where your theme provider is imported and is wrapping your overall layout. Same thing happens for the story decorators, but because theme UI framework is using a variance declaration system along the system UI dictionary, you do have to declare your different variants for your components by passing them to your theme provider. So in the theme UI utils component, you've got a variance file. In this variance file, we import the global theme, that is a system UI theme from the whole token components. And then we import the different variants from our different components. And then we export them by merging them with the theme component and the different variants for all the different components in our design system. And this theme with variants is then used to theme the theme provider, and your different views will be decorated with the correct theme with variants. So let's have a look at how it works in the button. So in my button component, I've got button one that is just importing the theme UI button. I declare my different button properties. Thanks to TypeScript, it allows me to just have a typing definition of my components and the different properties of my component. So I could declare different variants, if my button will be disabled or not, and then I export my button, which is just a wrapping of my theme UI button with the variants and the properties. And because the theme needs the variants to be declared, I've got a variance TS file. In this variance file, I declare the different variants based on the theme UI documentation. So have a look at the theme UI documentation. Here I declare two different variants, a primary and a secondary color. And because theme UI is compatible with the system UI definition, you don't have to declare anything else than just the keys that you want to use in the system UI definition to adapt your variants. So here I declare in my primary variant that the color is a home primary color in my definition, same thing for the background, and so on. So if I have a look to my stories, I see my primary definition, my secondary definition, the disabled version, and so on. As usual with Backlight, the stories are located in the stories folder of my component. So here I got my stories file where I import my button and my layout from the UI util component. And I export my different version, the button variant primary, the button variant secondary, and so on. Okay, so this is for the theme UI system. You can easily enrich it and use it to just develop your own component based on the system UI definition. But thanks to the open source nature of the system UI, other frameworks are able to use it as a definition system. The other one is styled components. Styled components works a different way than system UI, because this time you just import a styled a component from the styled library by passing it a CSS-like syntax, which is a string format. And thanks to the string interpretation, the string interpolation format, you could easily pass it some style system UI definitions directly inside it by referring to the correct keys in the definition. So let's have a look in the Backlight editor by itself. How does it work? So back in the Backlight editor, we've got the same way than we did with theme util. We've got a styled utils component. This style util component is exporting layouts, decorators for the MDX and the stories decorators the same way. Because styled components also export a theme provider, you could easily import your system UI definition because the theme provider from styled component is compatible with system UI. So you just have to wrap your components directly inside the theme provider by passing it the same. But on the contrary of theme UI, you don't pass the variants to the theme directly, but you do have to embed your variants directly inside your components. So let's have a look at the styled components button definition that we have as an example. So I import my styled library as well as a theme context, and I style the button from the styled button library, but this time I will pass it my button properties, and I generate my variant style directly from my styled button in the code directly. And because this is just a string system, I could refer to my theme because I have access to the theme. So I could refer to the theme definition by accessing the different keys for the different variants, like the font size, the paddings, the borders, the colors, and so on. Then I have a button props definition where I could pass my different values, and I wrap my styled button directly by passing the different properties that allow me to style my different variants. If I have a look at my stories, I have button primary version, button secondary, and the same thing for the different variants. So in the stories preview, I have access to the primary button, the secondary button, the disabled version, the same thing with the spinal loading, and so on. So you could easily, this way, use your system UI definition, which is the same one, with two different frameworks, a theme UI or a styled components one, and wrap your different React component directly in them. So now let's have a look at how we could work if we wanna add a new theme UI component directly into our system. So let's go back to the editor. This time I'm gonna add a new component, a new theme UI component in it. So first thing is to create a branch. So I will create a theme UI heading branch to create a heading component. So now the branch is created, I just have to add a new component. I will name it theme UI heading because it's for my headers. In this theme UI heading, in my SLC files, I first add a heading.tsx file. In my heading.tsx, I will just import my component directly. So I import, no, this is not the same, the proper one, sorry. I import my heading. So I have my header imported from the theme UI library. I've got my different levels because the header could be from H1 to H6 with a default to H2. I had some variants. I reuse the same as in the theme UI documentation. So I have a heading, which is the default one, and a caps variant. And then I just wrap my theme UI heading directly into my component. But I also have to declare my variants. So I had variants file that is exposing my different variants in my component. So I have two variants, a heading variant and a caps variant under the text key in my variants. And because those variants are declared in my components, I have to go back to the theme util, going to the variants file and then add it directly, import it from my heading component. So I import my heading variants, I will add it to my theme with variants, and everything will be ready to be used directly because my variants are now embedded in my theme UI definition. So let's go back to my theme UI component. So I've got my variants. I have to expose everything right in it. So let's go to the root folder of my components. I will create an index.js file, and I will export from it both my heading components and my variants. So my theme UI util will be able to import the variants by itself. Okay, so now we have to create stories. So let's go to the stories folder of my component. I will just add a new index stories file, like as usual, and we will do it in TypeScript. And I just import my heading component from it, and I export 3 different stories. The default one, version with H3 level, and a version with caps variant. So if I save my stories and I go to my stories, I have my proper heading with a theme applied to it, so with my heading font. Same thing for the level 3, and same thing with the all caps version that is applied directly into my component. So now if I want to register it as a component, just going to the root files, studio config system, and just add it into my collection of different components directly, and my theme UI heading component is now available in my theme UI section. So this way you could easily add a new component, a new theme UI component into your starter kit. So you could start from it to start a new design system from scratch and develop it thanks to the theme UI system. So that's all for this quick overview of this System UI tech sample starter kit from Backlight. I hope you know better see how we use System UI in Backlight directly with React component, and how you could rely on it with different libraries like Theme UI or a styled component to develop your own design system. We pre-packed everything in this starter kit with the doc kit, so all your documentation is pre-rendered with the different version of your design tokens, as we saw. So this is pretty easy. Let's go to Backlight right now to start with this new starter kit, and let's see you quickly in a new episode of the Tech Samples system. Bye bye.